Rivals Radio.
All right, so welcome back to Rivals Radio with Wally and Dee. Week 5 is already upon us in the Football Rivals Pro League, and it's been a wild ride so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, some real surprises already. Some teams really exceeding expectations.
Yeah, exactly. So, as always, we're going to take a deep dive today into, some of the big storylines.
Big narratives.
Yeah, the narratives. The best and worst of the league so far. The teams that are really making a statement, and then those that are maybe struggling a bit.
Exactly. And for our listeners out there trying to stay on top of things, we're going to break it all down for you.
Absolutely. And, we've been poring over the reports, looking at the numbers from the Apex Conference, the NXS Conference, all the early matchups. And we want to give you that clear picture, cut through the noise and tell you what's really going on.
Yeah. No need to wade through all those box scores. We'll give you the key insights.
Exactly.
So where should we start? Let's talk about the surprises first.
Mm-hmm.
The teams that are exceeding expectations. And, man, I got to say, the Canton Crush and the Apex North, they're really turning heads. Oh, yeah. They're 4-0 leading the Apex Conference right now. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Nobody did. I mean, they were projected to be, maybe a bottom dweller in the division.
Definitely a rebuilding year, most people thought.
Yeah, and now look at them. It's incredible. And a big reason for that is their rookie quarterback, Jimmy McNamara. He's been playing lights out.
Absolutely. He's been phenomenal. Top 5 in a lot of passing categories. Just incredible for a rookie.
Yeah, and what's really impressive is that he's taking care of the ball. He's not making those rookie mistakes. Those interceptions that can really kill you.
Right. The report actually highlighted his low interception rate, especially considering how often he's throwing deep.
Yeah.
That's a sign of maturity beyond his years.
It really is. Now their schedule's about to get a lot tougher, though.
Yeah, that's the big question mark. Their next 4 games are against some real contenders, so we'll see if they can keep this up.
Yeah, it'll be a real test, but so far they've been the surprise story of the season. Now, another team that's been exceeding expectations is the Philadelphia Fury in the XS East.
Oh, yeah, they're another team that's come out of nowhere.
I mean, they weren't really on anyone's radar, and now they're looking like a serious contender.
And a lot of that has to do with their quarterback, Nigel Crothers. He's back to his MVP form from the 0-year league.
Yeah, he's playing like a man possessed, and the report even mentioned that opposing defenses are starting to fear them.
That's a great sign when you can instill that kind of fear in your opponents.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of quarterbacks who are elevating their teams, we got to talk about Buck McCarthy with the Chicago Football Department.
He's another rookie who's just been unbelievable.
I mean, coming into a complex offense like Chicago's and playing like a seasoned veteran, it's remarkable.
The report called his transition seamless. He just looks so comfortable back there.
Yeah, he's got that it factor. He's a gamer. So Chicago is definitely another team to watch.
Oh, yeah. They're a hot team right now. They can make some real noise this season.
Now, before we move on to the teams that are struggling, there were a few other teams mentioned in the report that are exceeding expectations, maybe not to the same extent as Canton or Philadelphia, but still worth noting.
Absolutely. The New York QB, Pat McCoy, is playing well above expectations.
Yeah, he's been a pleasant surprise for them. And then there's the Tokyo Riot. GM Anthony Fry has them playing a really balanced style of football.
And they're winning games they weren't expected to win. So that's always a good sign.
Yeah, and their MLB, Cody Meltzer, he's tied for the league lead in interceptions. The report called him a throwback field general linebacker.
Love that description.
Me too. A real difference maker. And what about the Pittsburgh Prowlers in the Apex North? First-year GM Shaka Caesar has them off to a great start.
Yeah, they're looking really good. And their running back, Jarius Harper, he's been a revelation.
Elite speed, hands, vision. They're comparing him to some of the all-time greats.
High praise for a young player. And their cornerback, Jared Newman, is also tied for the league lead in interceptions. So their defense is making plays, too.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about the LA Reign in the Apex West. They're not just winning, they're dominating their opponents.
Yeah, they're building that empire mentality. And their quarterback, George Burrell, he's leading the league in rushing yards among quarterbacks.
That's impressive. And they're comparing his playing style to Randall Cunningham. Talk about a dual threat.
It's hard to defend a quarterback who can beat you with his arm and his legs.
Oh, no doubt. And finally, in our look at the best, we have the Buffalo Brawlers. Now, they're not a surprise in the same way as some of these other teams.
Right, they're the defending champs, so expectations were high.
Exactly. But they're still exceeding those expectations. Their quarterback, Andrew Frost, is playing like an MVP candidate.
Yeah, he's leading the league in both passing yards and touchdowns, and he's got a great supporting cast around him.
Absolutely. HB Ronnie Lee, second in the league in rushing yards. Terrence Andrews is second in Offensive Player of the Year voting. They've got talent all over the field.
They're the team to beat right now, no question about it.
Okay, so we've talked about the teams that are flying high now. Let's turn our attention to the teams that are struggling. And unfortunately, we've got to start with the Mexico City Firebirds.
Yeah, they're 0-4, and it's a tough situation. They got a good quarterback in William Paulson, but they just can't seem to get a win.
It's got to be frustrating for them. And the report mentioned that there might be a quarterback change coming soon.
Yeah, there's talk that rookie Taylor McKinney might get the start if they don't turn things around quickly.
It's a big decision, but sometimes a change can spark a team. So we'll see what happens there. Now, the report also grouped together the Columbus Crusaders in the Apex North and the Houston Hoplites in the Apex South.
Okay.
Both of them are also 0-4.
Yeah, those are two teams that were expected to be more competitive.
What's the deal with Columbus?
Well, statistically, they're pretty average. They're not great in any one area, but they're not terrible either. But for whatever reason, they just can't seem to win games.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. And the report even mentioned that their quarterback Truman might be on the hot seat.
Yeah, with the upcoming drafts being QB heavy, his job might not be safe for long.
It's a tough business. Now, what about the Hoplites? They brought in Glenn Huntington as a free agent, but it hasn't made much of a difference.
He's a talented quarterback, but they're still struggling to score points and win games.
It's a team effort, and it just seems like they haven't gelled yet. Now, the final team we're going to look at in the struggling category is the Albuquerque Dukes in the NAX US West.
They're another team with a first-year GM and a rookie quarterback, so there's going to be some growing pains.
Yeah, they're 1-3 right now, and they're on a 3-game losing streak, so it's been a tough start.
But their cornerback, DeAndre Gregory, has been a bright spot. He's tied for the league lead in interceptions.
So there's some talent there, and the report mentioned that they might be making some changes to their scheme or approach.
Yeah, that they're trying to find a way to get things going, so it'll be interesting to see if those changes make a difference.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We've looked at the best and the worst of the league as we head into Week 5. What are some key takeaways for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is that there have been a lot of surprises so far. Teams that we didn't expect to be good are playing really well, and teams that we thought would be contenders are struggling.
Exactly. And it just goes to show you that in this league, anything can happen.
Absolutely. Every week is a new challenge.
Now, speaking of challenges and opportunities, the league is currently taking GM applications for year 2.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interest, so if you're thinking about becoming a GM, now is the time to apply.
Absolutely. And don't forget to get your college applications in as well before the window closes.
Yeah, those coaching positions are filling up fast.
And just a heads up, we're looking into the possibility of having athletic directors for the college season in year 3.
That would be awesome. So stay tuned for more information on that.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the best and worst of the league, here's a question for you to ponder. Which of the surprising teams do you think has the best chance of maintaining their success? And which of the struggling teams is most likely to turn things around?
Let us know what you think.
Thanks for joining us on Rivals Radio with Wally and Dee. We'll be back next week with another in-depth look at the Football Rivals Pro League.
See you then.
It's Rivals Radio.